All right, guys. It says we're live here, so welcome, guys. All right, let's get this party started. Bitcoin for 101. We've done this 100 other times before, and we're going to do it one more time tonight. We've got a great lineup. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Hopefully, this is coming through loud and clear for everybody at home, but I'm just not sure. This is what it's like doing business in the jungle. But anyway, let's see how we do. All right, we've got a good lineup for you tonight. The filter number 101, Make Bitcoin Great Again. How did I come up with that title? Lots has gone on in the last week. We got some explaining to do. We're going to do a little Bitcoin health check. I've been looking at the Bitcoin stats, and I don't know how the patient is doing. We have to take its temperature, see how the Bitcoin network is doing. So there's some funny symptoms showing up. We're also going to visit India. Some significant information coming out of India. I'm sure those paying attention know what I'm referring to. Cash chaos in the subcontinent there. And we're going to look at a community currency called Simbi. Somebody posted about that this week. We're going to have a little discussion about that. And then I'm going to expose you guys to, so to speak, to Buttcoin. Are you guys familiar with Buttcoin? Yes, we're going to take a look at the Buttcoin tonight. Hold on to your hats. Let's kick things off here.
Nice t-shirt.
Oh wait, stop. All right, I'm just sharing my screen with the folks at home. Hopefully they're seeing what we're seeing here. All right, the filter number 101, Make Bitcoin Great Again. Let's see if we can do that. I think that's a good theme. Timely. Have you guys heard the news?
Possibly.
Yes. We have a new president-elect in the United States, Donald Trump. I'm sure that's going to make our Tuesday evenings a lot more fun for the next 4 years. Hang on to your hats. Donald Trump will be busy making America great again, and then when we're here, we're going to make Bitcoin great again. We'll see who wins. We're coming to you live from Hubud, from the very cool conference room. Hubud is nice enough to give us this space to meet. And if you're ever in Bali, I hope you'll come check it out. Hope you'll visit us in person. Hey, there's the startup weekend. This weekend is startup weekend, and our own Mel is going to be a mentor. Is that right?
Correct.
I'm sure that you can push at least 2 teams into the Bitcoin arena for their projects. Yes. I know you have to be, objective, and you just have to, but I think you should just get in there and make something Bitcoinish happen. Something crypto-ish. Yes. Use your influence. And we'll expect a full report next Tuesday after you haven't slept for a whole weekend. All right. After tonight's festivities, we're going to go to Kismet. We're going to try and make our Bitcoin economy grow, and they're nice enough to give us a discount tonight if we pay with Bitcoin. So I've got a table reserved, and if you don't know where it is, we're going to take a little scooter convoy over to Kismet after this. Don't miss it. All right. We were having a few technical difficulties. I really don't know if all of my 38 tabs are going to show up.
Yes, they are.
Okay. All right. We got this bitcoinsinbali.org website, and guess what's coming up here, guys? We've got the classes tab here. Bitcoin 101 is happening on Saturday, November 26th. So is that this Saturday? No, the Saturday after next. This Saturday is the startup weekend, and the following Saturday is Bitcoin 101.
Yay.
Send us your noobs. We're going to try and create some more Bitcoin consumers, some more Bitcoin folks. We assume they know absolutely nothing about Bitcoin when they arrive, and all they need is their phone with a data connection, a propensity to have fun, and be interested in something new. All right, speaking of the Bitcoin economy, let's take a look at the Bitcoin economy here in Ubud.
There
it is.
There it is, a real-time graph of our very own Bitcoin economy. What are we looking at here? Well, this red line is the 7-day moving average. So I think this is pretty cool that we've got a nice rising Bitcoin or 7-day trailing average. We've also of interest are these candle tops, right? These things on the top of each of these graphs represents transactions that happened at merchants, right? Like six transactions happened at merchants this past Sunday. Only 2 transactions on the ATM. That's pretty cool. You know, on days like this where there's just ATM transactions, it's not as interesting. But you know, like this, I think this is the last time we had Bitcoin 101. We had 13 transactions because we took a bunch of newly minted Bitcoiners to a local establishment so that they could magically turn their Bitcoins into a sandwich. That's what we do around here. We're going to do that tonight. Only tonight we're going to turn Bitcoins into beer all together, but that's possible at Kismet. And this line will magically grow in real time thanks to Willy Woo and his magical real-time graphing capabilities that he set up for us.
Accurate graphing capabilities.
Yes. We've also got this online community at Bitcoins in Bali on Facebook. 700 members there. Speaking of Willy Woo, he's been teasing us on Twitter about this new article that's coming out. What's the dealio on the new article? What's the ETA, man? There's people chomping at the bit.
I'll do it this week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, let's just. Oh wait, where did the? Hold on a second. I thought I had this pulled up. Let's take a look at this here. This is going to be interesting. What we've got here is local Bitcoins, and that's local Bitcoin transactions. So that's feet on the street, people doing business, you know, hand to hand. And then you've got the blockchain transactions. And that matched pretty much with the exchanges until what, late 2015?
Yeah.
We're seeing a gap here. That's the thing that's really intriguing to me.
Looks suspect.
Yes, it's a little bit strange. Some strange things happening on the strange things happening at the exchange. That's some strange things happening. So I'm sure you'll have it all figured out by the time you publish your paper, and it will be, you know, it'll take the internet by storm with your revelations. We will be waiting by the phone for that published announcement. All right, we've also got our YouTube channel. These things go right up on the YouTube channel as soon as we're done, totally unedited and unfiltered. Pleasure. So make sure you check out our YouTube channel. And we've also got this Bitcoins in Bali hashtag on Twitter. Other local news. Are you guys aware of this Money and Society Summit that's happening in early December, December 12th and 13th? I'm going to be in town for this. However, JP, do you know the deal on this? What's the...
This is Jem and Steven.
Together they're doing it.
I think so, yeah.
And people are traveling in from out of the country to go to this, right?
Yes. And you can register. There should be a link on that page.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, check it out, the Money and Society Summit with Stephen DeMillionaire and Jem Bendel. Our friends are putting that on, and it's been in the works for quite a long time, so I'm really interested to see how that turns out. We'll have to get a report from those guys after the fact. Price. The crazy Bitcoin price has been going wild lately. We've got the Indonesian price here, 9.5 million. That has been going up over the course of the day, and we're at $713.49 in US dollars. So things seem to be climbing, at least lately, but it's been a little bit all over the place for the last week. Again, this is the 1 week Bitcoin time machine. Back on, let's see, November 9th, we were as high as 735 US dollars. And then the time machine says that back on November 13th, we are way down at 687. So how many people bought at 687? Raise your hands. Oh yeah, I always buy low. This is my advice for you guys. This is investment advice. Buy low and sell high.
Yeah, but how do you know?
So
How do you know?
details, man. Details.
YouTube video that made with cartoon faces and robot voices that says buy the fucking dip.
Yeah, BTFD. BTFD. That's also very good advice. BTFD, buy the dip. Yes.
By the yeah.
All right. Let's take Bitcoin's temperature here, guys. What's going on with Bitcoin? We're gonna give Bitcoin a little exam here. If the internet will come back to life here in the heart of the jungle. All right, I'm gonna wait for that to come back to life. Here is a view of the Bitcoin blockchain. Let's see. Here's some key stats, right? And one thing that's interesting to me is the size of the mempool. How many people know how big one block is in the Bitcoin blockchain? What's the size of a Bitcoin block? Does anybody know what we've been fighting about? The Bitcoin block? 1 megabyte. Yes, Christine from the Peanut Gallery. We have a correct answer. But the mempool is all of the Bitcoin transactions that are waiting to be put into the next block. And look at how big it is. 3 megabytes. So every 10 minutes we get one megabyte block, and the current backlog is 3 times the size that will go into one block. But
Is the mempool, are they the same? Are we counting apples for apples?
I don't know. I thought I was. Tell me what's what.
I don't know. Is the transactions mempool like, are they in the same format as hashes in a block?
I don't know. That's a good question. I just assumed that the mempool was the transactions ready to go into the next block, and if the mempool is 3 megs, that you've got a 3x backlog going into the next block. Is that not correct?
We should find that out. It's probably like uncompressed or something.
Really?
Because the miners grab it and then.
So they do something with it. They process it before they throw it.
Right, they hash it.
Right.
So I would say that the mempool's.
So the mempool, you're right. The mempool, the block is hashed before it's put out there, before it's broadcast.
Which is a compression, really. It's a fingerprinting.
Right.
So I don't know, we should find that out.
So know that even if it's not a one-to-one relationship, it does represent a backlog.
Yeah.
The mempool does represent a backlog, and you can see that not all transactions make it into the latest block. Check this out, guys. This is let me see if I can find this. Here are the oldest transactions in the mempool. They're from the 12th of November. What's today? The 15th of November? So these transactions are 3 days old. Now they've attached 0 fee, like they're paying basically no fee. So a miner has to pick this up and do it out of the goodness of their heart. And it's pretty amazing that you only have to go back to the 12th of November to find a transaction that hasn't been picked up. I mean, it's 3 days, but they're doing it for free, right? So think about it. A wire transfer might take 3 days and cost you, up to 8%. And you can send any amount of value with a 0 fee. And these days, maybe it'll take 3 days on the Bitcoin blockchain, which might sound like a long time in Bitcoin land, but it's really not that long in the grand scheme of things.
If you're transferring a big sum, it's not. But if you're buying a coffee, it is.
Yeah.
Right. Although when you're buying a coffee, you usually are able to leave with 0 confirmations, at least processing environment here in the jungles of Ubud. But also, if you're moving a large sum, you can put a fee on that will likely be not more than 28 or 29 cents. I mean, that's a really rich transaction fee, and it will make the top of the queue and likely make it into the next block.
Pay to play.
So here's another vantage point of the Bitcoin blockchain. You can see this blue line represents the mempool, and you can see these are the Bitcoin blocks and the number of transactions that are making it into each block. And you can see we found a block after. This block took 23 minutes to find. This block took 3 minutes to find. This block took 5 minutes to find. And again, it's supposed to average out to about every 10 minutes, right? But you can see that we're really trying to jam a lot of information into the blocks these days. So we're trying to solve that problem, but we're not there yet. Also, what was interesting is I saw a spike at some point in time, somewhere around November. What is that? November 11th. We had a mem-pool that skyrocketed to 20 megabytes. I didn't know if anybody was aware of that happening. Anybody have any problems with their Bitcoin transactions this past week? I was hoping somebody might have an idea why we had this spike, but usually we're looking at this graph and it takes up the whole space, but because of this one outlier, everything is pushed down to the bottom, and I don't know why.
It cleared quick.
Before it crashed, right?
Yeah, it cleared itself out pretty quick. I don't know.
There's a tip beforehand, right?
Yes, it looks like there was like some sort of.
It's almost like the volume inside that dip was about the peak. You know?
Yeah, I'm not able to zoom in on that section. I'm sure somebody was freaking out at that point in time, and just slumbered away in our ignorance. Anyway, if anyone has an idea on that, I'd be curious to talk about it. All right, let's move into the articles that were posted by the folks in the Facebook group. This one I thought was interesting: socialism and the blockchain. What political party or movement do you normally associate with Bitcoin? Anybody? None.
Libertarian.
Yeah, libertarianism. That's right. That's usually what I think of when I think of Bitcoin. But these guys are like, how about Bitcoin and socialism? Did anybody take a look at this article? It's kind of interesting. I'll read you the abstract. It's often cited as a libertarian thing, Bitcoin. However, the technology underpinning Bitcoin blockchain has properties that make it ideally suited to socialist paradigms. You guys ready for Bitcoin socialism? All right, let's get started. Current literature supports the libertarian viewpoint by focusing on the ability of Bitcoin to bypass central authority and provide anonymity. Rarely is there an examination of blockchain technology capacity for decentralized transparency and auditability in support of a socialist model. I'm ready to start paying my taxes in Bitcoin. Are you guys? If you could see exactly how your Bitcoins were spent, wouldn't it be interesting to pay your taxes and know exactly what toilet seat on what aircraft carrier you bought, or what drone you bought, whether you brought the drone that bombed the wedding party or not? Wouldn't that be nice to know? I think it's going to be a long time before governments go for this kind of thing, but it's nice to know that it's technically possible to turn the lights on.
I don't think it's a technical article. From how it's written, it sounds like one of those soft social scientists, social science that don't make any solid claims about. Does not say anything about what they mean.
Well, they have some math. Did you read the paper, or are you just going by the abstract?
I thought only the abstract was available on the.
No, this is you heard it here first, guys. This is the whole paper here. And one of the interesting things they do is they talk about the labor theory of value. Are you guys familiar with the socialist labor theory of value? If a laborer works for 5 hours, they should be paid according to their labor, right? Regardless of the output of their labor, right? Regardless of the market value of their output. If they work for 5 hours, they should get compensated for 5 hours. And they map this labor theory of value onto the energy costs of Bitcoin, right? So they say that the new economics are not based on the laborer, but on energy. And so if you substitute labor for energy, you can the electricity behind proof of work. And therefore you can equate energy with labor, and then basically price everything in the economy based on the energy that was used to produce it. So they do this calculation. I don't know if I can find it. Where is it? Socialism and money. There's a lot here, but here's your math. Here's the labor theory of value. They get into all this, megawatt per hour per Bitcoin, and they deduce that a Nissan Leaf is worth 27.4 Bitcoin. A Nissan Leaf is worth 24.4 Bitcoin, which is about $19,000, which is probably about what they cost. Hopefully that's not a coincidence, or hopefully hopefully that is a coincidence. Not a coincidence, right? We don't want that to be a
We
coincidence.
don't want that.
We don't want them to back their math into the price of a Nissan Leaf. But I wouldn't put it past those crafty socialists.
But then it would account for the cheap labor in.
The cheap electricity, or it equates to the electricity used to mine the bitcoins that were used to purchase the Leaf, according to the paper.
And free energy will do what?
Well, the thing is, yeah, well, it's interesting because these guys are trying to show that Bitcoin and the economic values that come out of the traceability of Bitcoin would allow some sort of central control over everything, would allow some centralized government to decide what everything in the economy should cost. That's the socialism part of it.
Are some of the bitcoins being mined with free electricity near the Three Gorges Dam in China? Do they account for?
Well, they had to build the dam, right?
This paper seems like a whole bunch of crap. It's like
That's why I threw it up there so we can debunk it together. Please tell me why this is wrong. Where's Daniel? Daniel's the guy who posted this in the group. And
Where is Stephen?
Oh.
But something like this could take into environmental costs of all the products that come into existence.
Well, it could try to, although I think you're talking about externalities, right?
Yes.
You don't know, actually, and we actually don't know what it costs to make a Nissan Leaf because we don't know how much pollution it took to make the batteries, and where did they mine the metal for it, and how much pollution did that cause?
And how many people were enslaved doing that?
Right. And just like you said, sometimes electricity is zero, so we're not. And it's not zero. It might be zero for that one place, but the real cost is not zero. And it's interesting that it can look like it's zero. It's not capturing what are called externalities in economics, where we're, the price of an item does not capture all of the costs. Some of those costs are burdened by, some migrant worker that's working for 30 cents an hour, $7 an hour, but they're working for 30 cents an hour. And that's not represented in the cost of the item.
I don't understand if it's so brilliant that I just don't get it, but it's so stupid that I just don't get it.
Read it.
I don't grow it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of words here, a lot of numbers.
Who is behind it?
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. I think it's interesting to try to do this kind of thing. I mean, we've never had an economy where we have so many numbers at our disposal. It's interesting that someone with socialist leanings would try to do this. I mean, maybe it's all wrong, or maybe we can prove that socialism is wrong, or we can find the errors. But there's all kinds of dogma around economics, right? A deflationary economy will spiral out of control because everyone will hoard their cash. That's something that economists kind of hold religiously, but we don't really know, and we never really encountered that circumstance. And now that we've got blockchain and we can see, the types of things that Willie puts on graphs, we've got more data at our disposal to evaluate political ideas. It's kind of a cool thing.
How can you say people should be paid the same regardless of output? That just reminds me of the corporate world.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what socialism says. That's the labor theory of value. If you work, you deserve pay, no matter if you broke a bunch of rocks into smaller rocks. It doesn't matter the value of your output. It just
That's crazy, because you see something like Bitcoin where everyone attacks the network, they game it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's if you have something like that in socialism, everyone's going to game it. They're going to sit on their asses and try and get their money.
Yeah, I mean that's the. I mean, I don't know how much of this is my upbringing in a Western capitalism-based society, but the logic for me is if everybody gets stuff for free, then nobody does anything. And
That's not true in time banks. It's absolutely, An hour of mine is the same value as an hour of yours.
That's different though. That's community. That's ruler.
And so that's
Right.
right?
And
That's
you have
right.
to give something to get something. any mutual credit system works that way, where you can't go too far into the red before people stop providing services for you, and then you've got to find a way.
There we don't gain.
This
There we-
is
we don't
actually the
gain
origin of
system.
money, right? It's like when you got a small community, everyone's measuring social credit, and when you take that to a scale, then it becomes money.
When it's anonymous or
When you don't know everybody, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and that's the question really right now that we're grappling with as a world, right? Is this because are we a global community yet? Clearly not. So how do we get from here to there?
We're trying to be community at scale.
But these systems are voluntary to be part of, and they usually are low numbers, like 150 persons. So then usually people can work together. Once you get these really huge groups, it would be people will not feel the same responsibility towards the group.
Yes, this is Dunbar's number.
Very, very fast. Value labor, you're probably not gonna trade off for low value labor because you're gonna make a lot more money by selling it to the open market. Money. Like the time banks probably don't have rocket scientists or doctors or surgeons.
But the rocket scientists, you're right, they probably don't.
But an hour of a doctor's time is worth more to the community than an hour of a masseuse's time.
But that's actually not true. If that doctor needs his toilet fixed, he's happy to go see that patient.
There's likely more toilet fixers
There's
than
demand and
doctors.
supply.
Yeah,
Again,
exactly.
you know, it's yeah. But I think that it's, you were saying the other week, there's something about democracy not scaling, and I'm thinking that probably the best thing that scales is war. If like Bitcoin is war, like nature is war, everything is vying for each other in competition. Markets is war.
That I believe. Free markets is war, but I don't believe that everything is war.
Well, you have like communities. There's balance between what I see as this balance between cooperation and also this other side, which is attack, right? And the attack is like anti-fragile. It creates really resilient systems. This is nature, and then you have this other side, which is cooperative, and the two sort of balance each other. And at very large scales, which is like the entire world, you kind of need to, like, the cooperation doesn't happen because all you need is a few bad players and they take over.
This balance is exactly, I think, what they're trying to do with this. We're grabbing for it right now after what we've seen in the world. We're really reaching for how do we all get along? Like, how do we cooperate? Game everything.
Probably works in a really small scale.
Right, that's what he's saying as well. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next topic. CME Group launches Bitcoin price indexes. That's got to be the most boring headline ever written. Does that grab you, or what? Is that clickbait? Did you want to click on that headline, or what?
That was pretty exciting. If you read through it.
If you're Willie, it's very exciting.
If you're wired like Will, that's like, well, the implications are pretty interesting, right? Bitcoin has moved one step closer to mainstream credibility after the world's largest futures exchange operator launched a pair of indexes designed to track the virtual currency's price. Why do we need to do that? Indicative price for Bitcoin.
For Wall Street instruments.
Yes, for all of the great stuff that Wall Street can give us, like futures contracts and derivatives and yeah. Well, but the thing is, there is a place for these things. I think in good measure, useful. Futures contracts, for example, could make the use case viable in certain remittance corridors that wouldn't otherwise be possible, because when you're moving money, and money may have a different value in the future, it pays to buy a futures contract to mitigate the risk of that volatility and fluctuation, and that's useful on a systemic basis for certain remittance use cases. And if we have a futures market for Bitcoin, then we have a more our remittance market comes sooner. And in order to execute a futures contract, you have to have an authoritative price at a certain point in time, and that's what these guys are proposing to provide. Did I miss anything? Was that a?
Read for the article, Daniel Masters, who's the husband of Blythe Masters, says that the new CME are clearly a precursor to a listing of some kind. So, for example, the ETF. And one of I think that the SEC replied to the filing that the Winklevoss screens made for the Bitcoin ETF. And one of the problems that they had mentioned was the fact that the price feed that they were going to use for their own exchange, for the ETF, to be that of their own exchange, expose them to
conflict.
What could go wrong?
Conflict of interest.
Can you say LIBOR scandal?
Especially
Jesus.
considering that the exchange has a pretty close to zero volume, like it never really took off. So maybe this is something that that is done in preparation for an independent listing to have an independent price index that they use to feed as a feed for the ETF.
Yes, that's exactly what Will commented on when he posted this story in the Facebook group.
Did you see also the letter that ARK Investment wrote? You know who ARK Investment is?
ARK Investment. No, what's that?
No.
They it's Barry Silbert's group that
Is it?
actually, I think so.
I think it's another one.
Is it? I thought they were behind GBTC. Is that not
No,
right?
I think it's another one.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
different one. Maybe Google it.
But they're in this game too.
They said that Bitcoin's premature for an ETF because the kind of volume that a hedge fund and the major public will pump into Bitcoin will it's way outscales the market cap of Bitcoin right now. So what you'll see is the Bitcoin pump similar to 2013, right? Which will create this bubble and a risk to the public.
Because this Bitcoin as an investment will be available to the institutional investor, and it will open the floodgates. Everybody's IRA and 401k and you name it, individual retirement account will flow into Bitcoin because of all the pumping we've been doing on Tuesday nights for the last 2 years.
Yes.
Undoubtedly. Yeah. Well, and the knock is that Bitcoin's liquidity isn't there, or the market cap's not.
The market cap's not big enough, so then it'll. What will happen would be like maybe a 10x increase or more,
Really?
and then after that will be a crash, and they can't expose the public to that level of volatility.
Can you design a model that will identify the peak so all of us can get in and get out on this one, on this little ride?
10x.
I think people have done it. You can probably do that. Actually.
I'll settle for 5x, cash.
Like, point, right? You don't want that level of volatility. It's probably destructive.
Yes, we don't want grandma losing her shirt on the Bitcoin, the next Bitcoin bubble. That's for sure. In fact, if you look at the price, and the last time we had a major bubble, let me go back here. We're only just now recovering, like, what is it, 4 years later? Here's some.
You notice the
2013.
3 bubbles have been scams.
Yeah.
MLM over there,
MLM here.
and then Willybot over there, and
yeah,
Willybot before that.
Oh yeah.
There were 3
Wait.
scams.
Oh, you think this is Willybot too? This first one? This
Yeah,
guy?
there was evidence
That's
to show
Willybot?
that Willybot first showed in that first bubble,
Okay, Willybot.
and then MLM on the on that last.
This
there.
guy's MLM.
The one that broke the bear market.
This one.
No, one before it.
This one.
That curve, the
This-
exponential curve was MLM.
Right here. This little ramp up. This ski jump here.
Yeah, the Chinese MLM scheme.
Huh.
So there's a point to this. So you can't expose the public market to scams.
Yes, I don't want my grandmother to have a bad taste in her mouth because she bought the Bitcoin ETF.
That's the whole point of VCC, right?
Yeah.
Who do we
Yeah,
who do we have to
but
call to
you
put a
can't,
stop to this?
2008 happened anyway, right?
Yeah.
So Wiki was responded to these claims that Bitcoin is too volatile, and they showed that Bitcoin is less volatile than Twitter.
Volatile than Twitter.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Twitter they allowed to trade, right?
Hedge funds aren't going to
interesting.
pump all their money into Twitter.
No.
Yeah, but they will
It's
in
given. It's like it's a market cap of one share versus a whole
It's the market cap
new
argument, I
asset
guess.
class. This is
The
a new,
volatility in triple levered ETFs is more than 200%, 250.
what is?
Triple levered ETFs in the market on gold and mining indices. The triple levered ETFs.
They're triple levered, like
Yeah,
paper
like
gold.
like NUGT for.
Oh,
gold.
that leveraged ETFs.
Yeah, levered ETFs. They have massive slippage due to, of course, when you have unlevered ETFs move up 10% and down 10%, up 10% and down 10%. After 4 or 6 moves, it ends up at the same level, right? But if you look at triple levered ETFs, they will go from 100 to 130. Drop does not bring it to 30, 100. It brings it to 98. Then up 30 and down 30, 96, 94, 90. So you have this slippage. It's called beta slippage in triple levered ETFs. Implied volatility of 250%. So argument that you can't have an ETF in Bitcoin is because of volatility. So many instruments are volatile.
That is akin to a synthetic CDO. This is like a base asset class.
You can't. I'm comparing volatility. You're comparing to
Well,
triple
the leverage ETFs is a bet on top of a bet, right? So it's asset class, and when you have a base asset class that's that volatile,
single unlevered ETFs. Look up ETFs based on VIX index and VIX futures.
you're like a nation to not being hacked. I don't think country would do
Right.
that.
Well, you're also giving away your ability to affect monetary policy, right? You can't.
Oh, they can.
That's their
That's the game.
that's their improvement.
Yes,
They're
that's
like,
the game.
it's like editable blockchains.
Yeah.
They can go and change the blockchain. They can.
That was
Yes.
yeah. You know, with the Canadian Senate, that whole 2 hours, I just watched that last week. And yes, you can create a coin and you can apply your own monetary policy, whatever you want.
Yeah. Huh? Wait, what was this? This is
You know.
that's what when Andreas was.
Yeah, he went to the Canadian Senate.
Good
to
job,
advise them.
Andreas.
And they were all picking and said, well, actually, it's just one of a million variations to create your own monetary policy.
Yeah.
Canada took that.
I'm happy to have one of you guys be the guinea on CAD coin. Back, we can get a Tuesday update from anyone who's going to jump on the CAD coin bandwagon. This one was posted by Stephen DeVillanaire, so he's not here to defend his choice. All right, let's go to India, guys. Anybody recognize this handsome devil?
Yes.
Mr. Gandhi.
Kingsley.
He said it's Ben Kingsley. Who knows the details on this? This is kind of a sensational headline. What is it? Witless and anti-people. This is definitely an opinion piece. But I looked on Medium, and there's just lots of stories. Everybody is chiming in on this thing, and I couldn't find one that was positive. Quite the rude awakening in terms of demonetization of the rupee notes.
Why were they negative?
Why are these assessments negative?
Yeah.
Because I guess they gave them until midnight of that very day to use them as legal tender. So, am I wrong?
Apparently not. No, apparently they telegraphed it 30 days in advance, but nobody took them seriously. Yes, this is what happened.
Yeah, but still 30 days is still like no time.
Well, it's just so just imagine using the U.S. currency. You have $1, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100.
Mm-hmm.
They took out the 50 and the 20.
Yes.
So it's not like
or the 100 and the 50, the two largest notes.
It's not like you couldn't operate anymore, but they said move it to the other. Don't keep cash in those formats.
But it's still a really tight time frame. Like they've done this in the Philippines, and they give you a year to get it done.
You have to do it quickly, otherwise the black markets can't unload.
And that's the whole point, was to catch the black market red-handed and put them out of business really quickly.
They've also got
the agenda.
They've also got counterfeit money from Pakistan, I understand. Like a lot of those notes are actually counterfeit notes.
Correct, and that's what Modi was trying to do. Possible way, that's a question, but that's what his attempt was.
Well, I can imagine, let's say I'm living in Bali, and the U.S. government says, okay, all the $100 bills and all the $50 bills are no good before the end of the year. I gotta go home and get in my safe, my rainy day cash fund. I gotta take a trip home, right? It's kind of a bummer.
It is, if you keep money in your mattress.
That's limits of.
Should I put it in the bank?
Money,
Should I put it
right?
back in the bank, JP?
Yeah, this is physical money. It's,
Gary, I did an Indian couple shuttle in Kuta days back. They were talking about this. We were just chatting. And I was really surprised because they seemed pretty well off, well to do. And the guy's telling me when I get back to India, I'm going to go tender in my pocket, but I need to. So I was like, well, are you going to be able to trade it out, or are you past the deadline? What's going on? He said, no, everything will be fine when I get back, but I have to do it. But they were like, well, guys are banks and stuff. So it was like, it was really surprising to meet them, and I'm thinking, wow, so your personal freedom is reduced. You got to keep stacks of cash if you want to keep cash. It's a war on cash.
Yes.
But they were like, well, our banks, our fractional reserve banks will start
Lending
more
it.
reserve and lending, and I'm thinking,
Wow.
the government is causing problems.
So they were like all for it.
They
huh?
were okay with it.
Wow.
because they could borrow more, right?
Yeah.
For their interests.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking,
Yeah, not everybody has the same ideas about things as yeah.
So this is the thing: is everybody does the thing that backs the thing that's in their best interest.
No, they all make perfectly logical decisions that are good for
Altruism.
everybody.
Consider everyone.
Altruism doesn't scale. It's in small.
Well, with the war and the no altruism, Willie, you're bringing me down, man.
That's like I'm
Should I
always
just go in it
skeptical
all?
of any cryptocurrency project that when you go into their community, they're all too nice, because you need dissension to really nitpick and find the holes in things.
Yeah, you need dissent. Well,
Democracy needs dissension.
okay, so I think that's a very good segue. We were missing a bunch of tabs here, but we're running low on time, so I'm going to use that as our segue into drum roll, please. The Bud coin.
Oh.
Let's talk about being skeptical here. So how many people get on Reddit like I do and geek out for hours on end on what the latest Bitcoin headlines are, right?
I thought that was
and-
illegal.
And yeah, well, I've got a VPN. Wink, wink. Anyway, so I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but back in the early days, we had our Bitcoin, and there were lots of nice people there. For your information, Willie, back in the day. But as soon as we started having debates about the block size, there were some not so nice exchanges and lots of dissension, and some people would say censorship on our Bitcoin. So thus was born our BTC, right? The censorship free Bitcoin subreddit. And according to some people, this turned into a cesspool of spam because it wasn't being curated, or put another way, censored. Words are important, but this is the way things unfurled, and thus was born the Buttcoin. Our Buttcoin, not an actual coin, but a subreddit, the Buttcoin subreddit, where they just sit and make fun of our BTC and our Bitcoin, and anything goes. Buttcoin is a peer-to-peer butt. Peer-to-peer means no central authority issues new butts or tracks butts. These tasks are managed collectively by the network. It's like a Bitcoin, but with butts. Born of this ethos are these guys, Bitcoin Uncensored. Have you heard about Bitcoin Uncensored? This is something that you need to be aware of. This has arisen. The anthropologists studying the Bitcoin ecosystem are going to remark upon the emergence of Bitcoin Uncensored, which some people say these are the master trolls of Bitcoin. Some people say these guys are brilliant, and I'm just going to play the intro to one of their episodes so you can get a feel for what goes on Bitcoin Uncensored. Check this out. Oh, did I lose my? I want you guys to be able to hear this.
We're gonna give him a call. We're gonna ask him what's up with the fork.
Scott, go for it.
Hey, is this Ned?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Ned, you're live on Bitcoin Uncensored. Ned, welcome to the show. Ned, we got a simple question for you. Are you ready to answer?
Possibly. I gotta run and get in my car right now,
Takes
but I
2
can give you about 10 seconds.
10 seconds, Ned. We heard that your chain got compromised and that you forked the chain to deal with that compromise. Is this rumor true? What do you have to say about that?
Steam it, or Steam.
Is this rumor true?
Keep in mind, we may actually know the answer, so choose your words carefully, Ned. Ned, you're taking a little longer than you should if the answer was a simple no. Why don't you come straight with it? Let's hear it. Let's get it out in the open.
So that's really interesting.
All right.
These are the only guys that do the research, actually, if you really dig
Well,
into it.
yeah, I mean, you were just saying how there needs to be dissension. There needs to be, Bitcoin lives in the wild, right? There's take no prisoners. It's the wild, wild west. You can have the best intentions in the world, and if you produce a coin, these guys, they go on and on about people inadvertently scamming people, right? Or the quote unquote natural Ponzi schemes, right? Where, maybe they didn't think it was going to be a Ponzi, but it ended up being a Ponzi. And they've got a technical background. They are hyper critical of everything that arises in the Bitcoin space. I would say they're philosophically aligned with Bitcoin Core, which is kind of interesting.
Aligned with a 4chan.
Yeah. and they are totally irreverent, and it's definitely not safe for work material that goes on there. But I'm kind of with Willie on this. That there needs to be. I think I'm learning more from this podcast than all the other kind of straight podcasts out there, where they're like, "Oh, we're going to interview the CEO of Lisk today, and tell us about Lisk." Like this kind of really nice, polite interview format. They'll actually take snippets of those interviews and like basically tear it to shreds, and then they'll try and call the same guy and have an interview with the same guy, and they won't accept the interview. And this is where I'm getting. If you can stomach the R/X rated nature of the banter that goes on
In the 4 hours.
yeah, and the 4 hours, you can have it on in the background. Maybe that's a bit much, but anyway, yeah, this is Descent. This is the crucible. This is the natural environment that crypto coins find themselves in. And actually, you know, although they're very irreverent and not that nice, I think they're coming from a place of we want to expose reality and we want to expose scams, and I think they're trying to protect people. And there's
also good work with OneCoin as well. They actually went to their meetings where they tried to squeeze money from people to invest in OneCoin.
yeah.
They ripped them apart there as well.
Yes. They also, you know, in their critique of these, you know, pro forma interviews, they teach the audience of their show how to ask difficult questions about any coin. Like, what's the mining algorithm? Was it pre-mined? You know, what's the inflation rate? You know, how are, you know, what is this downline thing you're talking about? You know, all of the critical questions that polite interviewers maybe don't ask.
I highly recommend their interview with Perry and Boring.
Perry and Boring.
Yes, write the name down, maybe on the screen or something. So people,
What is it? Let's do a search. How do you spell it? It's Perry and
P-E-R-I-N.
and
A-N-N, like the name.
spell it.
E-A-N-N-E. I-A-N-N-E.
I-A.
Space Boring.
Boring, like boring.
Yes. Bitcoin Uncensored. Yeah.
Is that her?
This nice lady. Yes.
Oh,
The
that lady.
Oh, I saw this. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Is that her? Perry and DC.
Yeah,
This
she's
guy's
totally
a
fake.
fraud. They're possibly right, and she made the very unadvisable decision to accept an interview with them about 7-8 months ago, and then she tried to sue them if they put it online.
Oh, really?
Yeah, send them all kinds of emails like, I didn't really agree, you can't publish this. And they just,
Oh, there you go.
It was the first time that they jumped the troll line into full 4chan territory.
Yeah. Well, what is 4chan territory for those who don't really know?
Full troll.
It's naked troll.
But while they've got the person on the line, like it's not like leaving a comment anonymously. They're just like full frontal, like.
It's it's shitlord territory, definitely. Which makes sense for Bitcoin. So I'm glad that it is.
They only take apart where dodginess. You know, they had Roger Ver on.
Yeah, Roger Ver. They were talking about Roger Ver and how well they're very critical of him, but they did say some nice things about how he changed based on their conversation
They
about
said he
things.
was too nice. They liked him.
They liked him. They liked him, so they went easy.
Well, like, I'm really dubious about any project that declines an interview with them.
Yeah,
Because they've got something to hide or they're scared of.
because you know they're going to ask the tough questions.
Yeah, like it was the Evan from Dash declined, but who's the woman? Amanda B. Johnson. She went on.
Oh,
And she got taken to pieces.
about
Yeah.
Dash.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But she didn't seem to care. She was very nonchalant about it.
Well, I mean, you got to know what you're getting into when you take that interview.
Yeah,
but-
you have to be. You have to really technically need to know what you're backing.
Right. But if you come out of that, you know, yeah, you're in good shape, right?
Yeah,
It's like running the gauntlet.
the crucible.
Trial by fire. Anyway, for those of you who aren't aware of our Bitcoin and aren't aware of Bitcoin Uncensored, consider this your gift from the Filter episode 101. Check that out. Put it on your podcast software, and if you want to chit chat about that, I'd be curious about your take on Bitcoin Uncensored. Okay, guys, we are out of time. Don't forget, we got the Bitcoin 101 happening on Saturday, 26th. Send us your news. Also, check out our Facebook group, Bitcoins in Bali, and check us out on Twitter as well, hashtag Bitcoins in Bali, and of course, join us in person next Tuesday. We do this every Tuesday night, 5 p.m. local time in Bali. Until next time, folks, thanks for coming.